The 50th anniversary of the 1972 flood is behind us, but the stories continue, as well as those stories should continue, so we don't forget what happened that evening. And because it's going to happen again. I mean, all the weather ingredients will come about again. Maybe not in your lifetime, my lifetime, but it'll certainly happen again, so we don't want to forget about it. One of the stories has to do with a Salvation Army officer who was swept away in the flood of '72. And with me is Vangie O'Neill, current officer with the Salvation Army here in the Black Hills area. Vangie, why don't you tell us that story about Major Medley?
Yeah, so Major Medley and his wife were on their way actually out here to the camp, bring their camper out and just enjoy this. It was donated to us years ago for us to allow people to come out and enjoy the outdoors, and we've certainly done that for the last 50 years or so. But the Medleys were on their way out to enjoy it, and the rain continued to get worse and worse, and they eventually turned around and went back into the city to see how they could help. Mrs. Medley went to work making sandwiches with some of the other ladies, and Major, he took the truck and went down to see where he could help get people out of the rising waters, and he was working on that. He was getting people in the truck, and when the dam broke, it swept him away, and his body was found later the next morning. Meanwhile, all night long, Mrs. Medley continued to make sandwiches, thinking probably something had happened, but not knowing until she got the call. She went in to identify the body and then went right back to work making sandwiches, which is an incredible story.
Sure.
Hundreds of people volunteered through the Salvation Army to help the Rapid City. People came from all over the Midwest from the Salvation Army to help. But one of the things that happened after the fact was that they had set up a memorial. And I only learned this as I was doing the research for this 50th anniversary of the flood, and discovered that this pavilion here was actually built as an outdoor chapel memorial to Major Medley, who perished in the flood.
I've been with the Salvation Army for about 20 years, and I did not know that. I knew this chapel, and I will call it a chapel even though it still needs a little bit of work.
Yeah.
But it's a memorial to Major Medley. It's wonderful, and the memorial is out here at the Salvation Army camp.
Yeah, and one of the interesting things is that there was no plaque anywhere that I could find. I haven't found anyone who even remembers. I did find some people who did remember somewhere in their back of their minds, oh yes, this was a memorial to Major Medley, but they didn't know anything about a plaque. So in addition to fixing this thing up and getting it back to appropriate shape, we want it to be a true memorial where people will remember. Because there's no point in a memorial if it doesn't help you to remember. So we want to put some plaques and photos on the wall to help people to remember, clean it up, fix it up, and put a little nice altar over there. So it becomes, again, what it was meant to be. When they first made this a memorial, they called it a place of solace. And that's what we want it to be.
And the public's invited. Once it's finished, and it'll be finished within a year. I don't want to put any pressure on you, Vangie. Within a year, I mean, the public could come on out to the camp and enjoy the solace and enjoy what this memorial is meant to be.
Absolutely. We would welcome that. In all of this that the city has done to remember the flooding, it's been very moving for me. I mean, with the Salvation Army for so long, we've seen all kinds of disasters. But it's just so moving to 50 years later for people to remember and to put such importance on remembering, and we certainly want to be a part of that.
And you certainly will be a part of that by redoing this memorial to Major Medley, so thank you for doing that. All right, Vangie, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Absolutely. Thank you.